Tonight's episode, we're going to try to do something with this. A, we're going to modify an existing carburetor for the ThunderJet dually, or B, we're going to make something out of this stuff. New throttle plate, old carburetor, pieces everywhere. Might even put a new coil on, who knows? New vacuum secondary thing. Hopefully it goes okay. Welcome to another episode of the Algeyer's Garage on YouTube. Problems on the home front. We had this 600 on. This worked great with the other motor. And with these bigger heads, more compression, bigger cam, it just, even the idle, I have to have the idle circuits must not be enough. I have to, I don't know if you're going to see it or not. There's a transfer slot right here that's in here. And what that is when your throttle's only open this far, a lot of times it'll run on that. Or that's also the transition from really light to full throttle. Well, the problem is it's just not, can't supply enough fuel from what I'm thinking. That, and I'm having trouble with this back float bowl. It's endless. So I was doing some reading, and well, anyway, this carburetor, I paid $60 for this. Somebody modified the heck out of this thing. Annual discharge boosters. It's a 750. It's a 3310. But one thing I don't like, it has these holes in the bottom. But on the other hand, that one can't get near enough air through the idle bleeds. So maybe, just maybe, why don't we try this and see what it does? So that's what we're going to do. I just started taking it apart because I want to see what's inside it. I mean, the power valve definitely not going to stay. I have to take the power valve out of the other one. At least somebody used quality gaskets, or they WD-40 this when they took it apart, because I haven't had any stick. This is an old style power valve. Somebody made their own private fuel line thingy. Just fine. Like I said, the way it looks, I could have just thrown this carburetor right on and tried it. But one thing I also see is somebody made this 4-quart idling. See, you have idle screws in the back, which is fine. Hey, I'll take it. But this base plate, if they did do that, this base plate has to have a modification. I don't know if there's a power valve at the back of this. I'm not sure how they did it. That was pretty easy. Okay, no power valve. So they did put a metering block in the back with no power valve, which is fine. See, a normal 3310 Holley 750 does not have a metering block in the back. It has a plate. This is open. There's no idle feed restrictions in it. And I love this. The gaskets are coming right apart. This is great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a screwdriver. I'm going to take all these screws out and then be back in a little bit. We have it all apart. The biggest reason we wanted to use this, there's a couple. First of all, it has these extra holes drilled in, which I think this motor needs to run right. Because I was telling you about the transfer slots, here they are. When you have the throttle on, you only want it open a little bit, so you should be getting a square on your transfer slot at the base of this. And if you have to open them like this for the engine to run, well, it's not right. And that's what I had to do with the 600. So that's why these holes are drilled. Whoever had this, they had a big cam or something, they needed the extra airflow. More than this carburetor can supply through the air bleeds. And the other thing was, this was converted, definitely converted to 4-corner idling. This is why I had to take this carburetor apart, to make sure that everything is kosher. Between that and the annual discharge, adjustable vacuum secondaries, I'm hoping that we can make something happen here. I mean, this thing had a lot of work to it. One thing I'm not too keen on is these. These are not peened over. So I'm not too keen on that, because if one of these screws come out, it'll end up down in the engine, which would really suck a lot. Your accelerator pump booster, I don't know which one it is, so we're going to check that right now. Hey, come out of there. Okay. Now, how does this work? That's better. 31. Well, we're going to stay with that. This is your accelerator pump nozzle. When you give it that oomph, what happens is your fuel comes out here. That's what this is for, to make up the difference. They already put this on. We're going to leave it on. Well, we're going to put it back on, and this is what we're going to use for now. So I'm going to get gaskets. We're going to put this all back together, and then we're going to see if it actually works. One thing we got to watch with this one, this little orifice right here, is for your power valve. Well, they don't have that machined and have the restriction in there. So if you get a backfire through the carburetor, it goes up through there and blows the power valve out. So we're going to have to try to stay aware of that. So when the power valve blows out, what happens is this rubber diaphragm blows. Now, it won't keep this closed, sucked shut. That's the way it operates. It sucks shut. When your manifold vacuum drops, and it opens. Well, it can't suck shut. So what's going to happen is the fuel will run right through onto the vacuum side and down into your engine. Bad, 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 bad. You don't want that to happen. There you go. See if we can... We're trying. See them holes down there? There, see them holes around the outside? Ooh. Them holes down in there. See the little holes? Those are the discharge boosters. This seems pretty good. I just can't tell if it's good or not. I'm going to use a 7.5. We're going to try it. I've got 9.5s. I got 8.5 somewhere. I don't know where that is. I think that might be in that other carburetor. I have them everywhere. I got to order a couple more to have them in stock. But the way this works is, it's like when there's vacuum on it. See how that's closed? That keeps the fuel from going in there. The vacuum keeps the fuel from going in. Once your vacuum falls off, voila! That's like 5, 6 jet sizes. It all depends on... There, see that hole right there? In that big hole, there's a little hole. Well, that little hole, and that looks like a pretty big one. How much fuel extra goes in? Judging by the looks of that, a lot. And if this isn't it, it could be the coil. Let's hope. We're going to match this gasket. Now see, look at the difference. That one won't work. That's a 600. Ah. No, I think that was still too small. Yep. Still too small. We only have one left. See, they give you a bunch of different ones depending on your CFM, but you always got to make sure. See? Holes are the same. All these little holes are all the same. That way, when you go to put the new one on here, like so, it fits no problem. See? And it only goes together one way. Stay. Voila. Now I'm going to finish getting this together. And what I do is, even these little screws, you put these back into holes, little WD-40. It keeps stuff from galling. It's just the way it works. What I'll do is I'll take a paper towel or two. Well, we don't need these here. We can get rid of these. We don't want to ruin this stuff. Take a paper towel or two. And I just sit it here on the thing, so I'll put all my screws on and I just spray them. Just spray them up. Can't wait to see this carburetor's gonna work. Ha ha. Start these bad boys. That one's going a little bit on the hard side. Well, no other ones will be fine. Now what I do with these, I just go around. And just keep going around. Okay. Next thing we do is we hook up these couple linkages again. We'll get the float bowls on, and then we have to figure out how to run our fuel line, because now I got to do something different. Yeah, great. This was designed to replicate the Ford. The way it came up, where the regular carburetor goes up, the fuel line comes up right inside the carburetor and driver's side. Well, this is on the... Wait a second. You know, we might be able to use this anyways. I forgot. One moment. I bought these. These are not cheap either. For almost, what, $75 a piece? I bought these float bowls so I could replicate the Ford system. See, this is a dual feed, dual pump, but what will happen is the fuel will still go into the driver's side, but then I just have to make a bypass to go down the passenger side. Nice. That's gonna be a little bit of work to make that, but it won't be terrible. See, that way, most of the, like this float bowls here, this one and this one, they're only threaded on this side, in here. Where this one is on both. So now we can use, I can't believe we can actually get to try one of these. That's pretty cool. Do we trust the old floats? Yeah, probably not. We're gonna take this whole assembly out. We're gonna put it in a new one. This one. Still have to figure out how I can magician these fuel lines, but we'll figure it out one way or the other. Can't be that terrible. The old trusty bag. Oh look, a float needle. See, what happens is it sits in there and the gas comes down through the top. And when this float thingy is up, then it closes this bottom valve, stops the fuel. And that's how a float works. So we're going to strip this, put all the parts in there so we can get that on there. Then we got to do the back one. Then we have to figure out a fuel line for this menagerie here. And then we got to figure out a different way to plumb the fuel line over there. So, yeah, it's going to be neat. This is our float assembly. Normally I would take this and I would hang some kind of a weight on it, and I would put it in gasoline. I've done it in water and leave it sitting there overnight, and then in the morning take the weight off and see if the thing floats or if it sinks, because a lot of times these go bad and the fuel gets inside them and they sink. I'm actually going to see if I can find a different one than this. I don't care for this one as much as I like the bigger style one. So let me go see if I can find one. There's a wide indentation down in there. That is where this float shaft goes down in. I couldn't find any other floats, but this is fine. It has to go down in those indentation grooves. See, that's what keeps this pin from falling out. I don't know why I keep doing this. Like tonight I talked to Bill from Flat Broke Garage on YouTube. He's like, I don't know how you have the patience for those carburetors, man. He said, I do not. I just go out and buy a new one. Well, once upon a time, I couldn't afford to go out and buy a new one, and I still can't. You know, now I really should have put some WD-40 on these screws, but it's already in. So we made do. Ran a race car for years on old carburetors. Sometimes I'd take 3 carburetors to make a good one, but you know what? Got us down the road. All the years we street raced, got us down the road. Now we're going to put this newest float in there, but again, because this little rubber O-ring doesn't like slippage, so you give her a little bit of spray. That O-ring keeps the fuel, it comes in here and goes down. Well, if that O-ring goes bad, that fuel's going to go straight through there. And there's nothing going to stop it. And that would not be good. Now, that goes there, and then this goes here. And what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our floats right away to try to get them close. See that right there? When the carburetor's on the engine, the gasoline just trickles out there. So usually when the float is about even with that hole, that's close. So that's where we start. There, see that? That's probably really close. We're going to start there. Okay, next, we just put the accelerator pump diaphragm plunger thingy in here. What that does is the accelerator pump diaphragm, this goes on here. What happens is fuel comes in from the top and goes in here. See, it used to have a check ball in them, and they don't do that anymore. I don't know why. Probably because it's cheaper to do this. So what that does is it lets fuel in, and then when you give it a shot with the throttle, with this on, it shoots the fuel back up out this hole. But it can't go up through that orange thing. That's the purpose of that. Always a big thing. Float balls. Do not over tighten them because they strip. But when they strip, I've never stripped one, but it's always the first time. It's always the first time to strip one. We don't want to do that because that's just not a fun time. Just snug, crisscross, snug them, snug them, snug them. WD-40, lube the threads, lube the gaskets, lube it all, and then move on to the next part of the carburetor. The choke, I'm just going to put a couple of studs on here, and I'll show you the choke. I can tell somebody really messed with that. So it is really, really messed up. Maybe it's bad, I don't know. See, look. You don't even use your whole hand, use your middle center. This is it. Just like this. See that? I'm not killing anything. You can go around a couple of times because every time you go it's going to get a little bit different. That should be plenty. Then you want to make sure this is also going to have, that should be pretty good. Oh yeah, that should do fine. That should do nice. I'm looking at the travel here. That should do very nice. This choke, these leads here are for the choke. They should be pointed down, not up. So what that tells me is he wanted this choke to stay open no matter what. And that explains why it's so springy. It snaps back. Well, we're going to fix that. We like choke. We like to pump it once, hit the key, have the choke adjusted properly, and it only takes a minute and it opens anyways. Saves battery, saves everything. It saves foot control, saves everything. This has original lead on it. So all you really do is just loosen these up. Still going. All you do is, there's little lines on here. And then there's a conjacent line on here. And that's how you adjust your choke. You don't turn it until it won't turn anymore to make things stop moving, which I don't understand why. Chokes are good things, they're not bad things. Now it should turn. I don't know which way to make it turn because I don't know what he did or how he did it. Yeah, I think we gotta go the other way. Oh, that's getting harder. It's gotta go this way. There we go. See it go shut? Look at it. Open. See, now what I'll do is there we go. We just want it to touch. There, that should be fine. Like so. Positive there. There's already a hookup for it. I gotta find a clip for this. I don't know why there's no clip. The way this works, back in secondary, is the way this works. When you open the throttle, the front throttle, this throttle, this back one doesn't open. Engine RPM comes up, back it goes through this gizmo, and then it slowly opens up, which is good. That's what you want. You don't want, on something heavy like my dually, you don't want, oh, before I forget, used carburetor, don't ever do this. Don't ever turn it upside down if you plan on putting it on something without rebuilding it. Just don't do it, because anything that was laying in the bottom of that is going to be everywhere. So just don't do it. But this is, obviously, we're completely redoing this, so that's fine. So remember that. Where was I? Oh, you can't overcarburate with a vacuum secondary. I mean, your throttle response, everything will lack because of these big holes. The smaller these holes, usually the better off you are, unless you have a monster like my 521 back here. But, because like you said, you can run on these front barrels on a 302. I've run these carburetors on a 302. No problem, but it won't suck the back off. Check this out. almost a finished carburetor. Now the only thing that's left is I gotta figure out how to connect this with that. And I think I have an idea how. We're gonna steal parts for the ThunderJet carburetor to do it. I know, but that's what I have to do. Last thing we might as well change. Brand new idle steel thingies. Steel right here. Change it on that side. All you do is you gotta screw them out completely. You screw the next ones in, but you don't kill them. Nice and easy. Turn them in, turn them in, turn them in when they stop, and then turn them out what you think is right. I'm starting out turning each one out one turn. Other than that, this carburetor is ready to put on, and hopefully it works. As you can see, that's my bypass fuel line on that side. So what'll happen is the fuel will come in on the driver's side. It will fill that front bowl up, plus it will go straight across there, and then it will hit that crossover, and it will go to the back bowl also. Which is exactly what we want. Hopefully, it all works out okay. We'll find out tomorrow. Stay tuned. That's it. 2. Oh, shit. This is how far we got last night. I throw some throttle linkage on there. As you can see, my fuel line that I made, everything's hooked up nice. All I have to do is make an elbow to hook this up. And then once that's done, we can El Stardo and see what happens. Yay. Well, we went back to the original ThunderJet carburetor, and guess what? Looks like we're going to be driving this thing on Thursday. We finally get to try it. No smoke. It's sitting there. I'm standing in the garage, man. I've had the garage open or closed for like 10 minutes. Doesn't even smell bad. That's awesome. Mixture screws are only out half a turn. I mean, it's beautiful. Beautiful. So now we finally get to drive it and try it. That annual discharge carburetor, we're going to use that because of these. These are the best boosters to use. They have all these little holes like I showed about in my other videos, but right now I gotta get it running. And I knew that carburetor was ready to go. Listen to that camshaft. It has a little bit of cams. A little. I'm gonna get another base plate made for this. They're set up because they drilled holes in it and shit. Excuse my language. And then another metering block for the back, and I'm gonna rebuild its annual discharge one because this is what I really want to put on this truck. But for now, we gotta take whatever we can get. Once again, we put a carburetor together, trial and error. 99.9% of the time it doesn't work, but now we're finally up to where we almost should be. But now I put advanced springs in. They were too much. So now I had to order different ones to cut some of the timing back, and I think we'll be perfect. Then we can move on to other stuff. So it's no more carburetor. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully see you on the next one. Remember, like, subscribe, and share to the Al Garage Garage. You have a great weekend.